Okay, welcome to the latter portion of 3.7, which would be 3.7.2, titled Notes Payable. Now, you heard previously in another module about what a note is, primarily a banknote. Bottom line, a note is the following. It's a payment, okay, where on this note, it will be exhibited when a business or a person borrows money. The key there, you're borrowing money and essentially making the payment on the note. And we'll talk about why that's so important for a business entity in and of itself. Okay, now what you need to know in regards to a note is that in writing on the note, it will state a promise to pay back the money in the future. So it'll have a date on when it needs to be paid back by. And this type of note is a promissory note. Now remember, just like anything in life, if you make a promise, you got to stick to it. One thing in particular that you may see again, this note may or may not contain interest. So a lot of times in business operations, different types of entity, depending on what type of business they actually are, will seek out notes to borrow with either low or no interest at all. It's not a rarity, but it does occur. Okay, let's talk more about notes. The amount borrowed itself, okay, is known as the principal. That's the amount borrowed. It's separate from interest. So here's the principal, down here's interest. One way to look at it, almost like two separate accounts. Now, if anything, that principal that you borrowed is called the present value of a note, what it's actually worth. You need to know that term again. Once that paid, this can be credited on the worksheet. Once paid. Now we're talking monthly or in full. So that's the present value. The principal is present value. And it could be with anything. When you perform an analysis, you see different numbers there, okay? They're double entered, but they change in value. So however you're monitoring it and logging it that day, it must be at present value, that note. Now, here's what you don't want. A note can be defaulted on. This means you stop paying it. It could be a loan, any other type of banknote. Now, all bank agreements require the discounter to guarantee collection on the note. Now, one thing that you need to know, once you default on a note, the bank will charge the business for the maturity value, not the present value, of the note, plus a default fee. So that's a lot of money. They don't care about the present value. They're talking about the maturity. So if you have a note that's 30 years, okay, to pay off, that's the maturity value. That's what they're going to charge you if you default on it, okay, plus a default fee. So depending on the type of note you borrowed and the type of business you are, that could be an exorbitant amount of money, all right? And a dishonored note has no value whatsoever. And there you go for 3.7.2, notes payable.